Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 29th day of September, 2020. Well, I've tried this a few times and my video messes up, so we're going to try it again and see if we can get it this time. It's like time number 4. Anyway, we have a 9 energy for the month, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the numerology before we get started. Completion, endings, humanitarian concerns. 11 is the master number for illumination and awakening. 22, the master number for the cosmic builder or soul level change. We're talking about a shift in perception here today. We've learned a lot. If you've been paying any attention at all to, there was a second article that the New York Times put out yesterday regarding Who's gets its taxes for the last 20 years. It really paints an interesting picture, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, who does he owe? Who does he owe the money to? And what of our country is he selling to alleviate that debt? Is that what's been going on? Is that what all this has been about? It's what I've felt it's been about all this time, but we'll see. They're going to have to investigate a little bit more, aren't they? But something's wrong. Something's wrong. He's not supposed to be making money off of people, the countries that we engage with, and yet he is. Can't do that, right? So lots of laws broken, but he doesn't care, right? Because he owes a lot of money, almost half a $500 million, right? Yeah. Was it 400 and some odd $1,000 that are coming due in a couple years? Yeah. No, he saw this as an opportunity. And he makes money every single time he goes to any of his golf courses. He makes money off of us, off the taxpayers. So, yeah. Well, our cards today are the Ace of Cups, the Four of Swords, and the Hierophant, which is the 5th card of the Major Arcana. Excuse me there. Our rune is going to be Uruz, the 2nd rune of the Elder Futhark. Again, manifestation energy. And the geomancy rune is going to be acquisitio, or gain. I think that what we've gained in knowledge has caused us to pause and reconsider the foundation of our perceptions. We see the Knights Templar, probably, given that this looks like it's in a church, laying on a table or a bed of sorts, sort of resting there, allowing his thoughts to come to stillness, so he can reconsider what he's been thinking, reconsider his perceptions. We see 3 swords above here and 1 down here. His hands are sort of in a prayerful position, probably trying to draw down the message of spirit to have that affect how he sees things now. When you have so many criminal things that are happening collectively in this country, we have over 204,000 people dead from the COVID virus. One could argue that that's depraved indifference by the powers that be, who couldn't see fit to take care of first responders, who couldn't see fit to take care of our healthcare workers, who couldn't see fit to take care of any of us, and to get us the proper information we need so that we can all be on the same page instead of fighting one another about whether or not we're going to wear a freaking mask. Just wear it. Good Lord. You see what he's done? Do you see what this man has done? He has upended everybody to where there are people that don't understand what they need to do. And they see it as some kind of cause to not do it. Never mind the consequences, right? This is what's happened to people's perceptions. They've been completely upended to where they can't even protect themselves or their family members, let alone anyone else they come into contact with. So we need a shift in perception. We need to take time out, reconsider everything that we know, and figure out, okay, what's real and what's nonsense? What has been a con that's been played? And what's the real truth, right? When we do that, I was going to talk about the Ace of Cups first, but I think, actually, you know what? I'm going to. Let's go ahead and talk about the Ace of Cups. We see the white dove of peace dropping a disc with a cross on it, Knights Templar cross, into a cup that's held by a hand reaching out from the unknown. Whenever you see darker clouds, it can indicate the unknown. It can also indicate deception. But right here, since it's an ace, we're going to talk about it in terms of the unknown. So the hand reaches out, likely from spirit. Although I'd be a little more happy if the clouds were a little less brown, but whatever. Usually they mean darkness, means deception. But darkness could be the void, of spirit. You could call it there. We see the disc. I don't know if the dove has dropped another disc in there prior to, but we see the waters of life. Looks like there's 5 streams of them representing the pentacle. Or the pentagram, not the pentacle, but the pentagram. Pentacle means there's a circle around it. But it represents the pentagram. So spirit, air, fire, water, and earth, all the elements plus spirit. Coming into balance. Balanced emotions, the genesis of new emotions. The genesis of love, the flow of love. Let's see, abundance. You get into compassion when you start to get into the two of cups, but you could also say the genesis of that here as well. In other words, healing, being able to see beyond yourself a little bit here and understand that this affects everyone. Source energy is basically love energy. And we're going to begin in love here today. When we shift our perceptions, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to have it focus on love and abundance and sharing and compassion and commitment to other people. That's the Ace of Cups. The aces are said to include all of the energy of the entire suit. So that's why I feel comfortable bringing in things that are maybe a little more other focused than just the self. But this is the genesis of new emotion, new commitment, new shared purpose, new shared path, new shared everything with other people. Once we let our mind heal a little bit and we understand what the truth really is. And then at that point, we move to the Hierophant. Now, your major cards are, at least I consider, I know other tarot readers do, maybe not all, consider them soul archetype cards. And so the smaller cards, they're the details of the day, right? It's kind of like looking at the house positions. You have your overall natal chart, which you're going to be looking at the 12 signs of the zodiac if you're just considering, and then all the planets within it, depending on how many you're considering there. But wherever they are, they're going to be in particular houses, right? The 12 different houses. Well, that's what the manifestation of the day itself, but you have the overarching principles, which is going to be your sign, your natal sign, the rising sign, or the ascendant. Depending on which type of astrology you're into, traditional astrology is going to give more weight to the natal sign. Esoteric astrology gives more weight to the ascendant. So I'm a Libra, my natal sign's Libra, my rising sign is Virgo. So the Virgo energy is actually part of my soul purpose, at least in terms of esoteric astrology, which I kind of gravitate toward that. I don't know. But so here we have this overarching type of energy here. We see the priest. We see his triple crown of the Pope. We see he sits between 2 pillars. You see 3 crosses here: knowledge, mastery, and tradition. You see he's holding his scepter in his left hand. He's pointing 2 fingers, as well as his thumb, to spirit. And so you see the 2 monks down below, and they're wearing the same kind of garment here. You see this little raiment or whatever. I don't know what it's called. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know some of this stuff. But it's similar to what the priest is wearing. But they're kneeling at his feet. He's their divine teacher. You see the crossed keys in front. But basically, you're talking about the receiving of divine wisdom. So when you're sitting here trying to figure out what's going on, letting your mind rest, you're drawing the information down from spirit, you see, to heal the manifestation that you are here in form. whatever is going on. If you've sort of been duped, if you've been led down the garden path or whatever, now you've got to reconsider. You could have this could be something a little closer to home. Maybe you're in a relationship where someone's just flat out deceptive, and you have to take time to figure out, okay, what's really going on here, so that I can I think one thing and then it's another thing, and so you have to give yourself a moment of pause, basically. Find your own love center within with the Ace of Cups, and then manifest from the standpoint of spirit. We're talking with the Hierophant, hidden knowledge, the divine teacher, mercy, idealism. And maybe idealism is really part of this, but it's idealism not from ego, but idealism from spirit. Where is that really coming in at, right? And I think that with the presence of the Hierophant, it's a 5 energy. So we're talking, we're talking the pentagram, we're talking change, fulfillment. So maybe you find, if you think of it from the standpoint of fulfillment here, if you think in terms of spiritual mastery, that could be a type of fulfillment. And so we derive that from love and unity consciousness, instead of the separation that ends up happening that's ego-based here. It's the ability to see everyone else as the other side of self instead of simply the other. And I know I sound like a broken record on that, but that's our true reality, is seeing everybody as the other side of self. So if we're challenged by someone's behavior, what about that is in us, perhaps? What about that are we having to think about when we see that played out? Are we seeing something that we're also either capable of doing, have done, or currently do? Or it could just be something you're just seeing another version of the situation, then you don't have to engage in it to understand its message. I mean, you're looking at a lot of different possibilities there when you consider something as the other side of self instead of the other, because there you divorce yourself from the effect. It's like, oh, that's not me, when maybe it is. Or there's aspects of that hit home, and so you have that discomfort and you say, oh no, not me. Well, yeah, it's you. If everything is the creator manifested into form, if all of this is the thoughts of the creator manifested into different possibilities, into tangible form, then that's what we are. We're aspects of the creator carrying all that out and living these so-called lives that we live, because there's multiple ones, likely all happening at once. It's a multi-layered experience that we're having. So allow yourself a chance to just settle your thoughts today. Allow love to replace whatever concerns that you have. Engage or I should say, allow the voice of spirit to come in and guide all of that today. And then manifest something new with Urus. Uru symbolizes the oryx. It symbolizes strength. It's not easy to manifest, is it? We have all of this stuff going on in our head, and maybe we can't, focus long enough to figure out what it is we need to do. But again, allow the respite, go into meditation if you have to, just get away from everybody if you have to, and just allow your mind to settle, allow your thoughts to settle, and figure out what's really real and how that impacts you and the decisions that you need to make going forward. Doing all of that, what we manifest that's positive from spirit, we have ultimate gain, don't we, with acquisitio. Manifesting from spirit, you have, or not manifesting from spirit, I should say, you have emissio, or loss. So again, you're looking at two sides of the same coin. Just like you are when I say when you're looking at someone else, you're seeing the other side of self. The same thing, two sides of the same coin. Maybe if we understood that a little bit better, we might stay out of the judgment that we get into. We might be able to perceive things from a higher perspective, allowing the soul presence to actually inform how you see things, inform your perceptions, and by doing so, it then informs your behavior. That way, when you're being conned, you're going to be going, oh, no, 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 you're a liar. Get away from me. And that's the truth. You align in that presence, and the deception is obvious that people wish to engage in. A lot of people do. A lot of people engage in a lot of deception. It's all self-dealing. The law of one talks about that, where we're either service to self or service to others. And the nice part about being service to others is that you're taken care of in the process. You're not left out in the cold at all. However, when you're service to self, eventually the chickens come home to roost, and the bills and the bill comes in, and then you got to pay the piper, right? Kind of like what's happening to who right about now. How do you owe that much money, and you don't tell us who you owe it to, and then you make money off of these dictators around the world by licensing agreements and things like that, which you can't do when you're in office. You have to divest from all of it. You have to submit your tax returns so that we know who you are and who you owe and who owns you. Otherwise, maybe you have somebody that owes so much money and does not have the wherewithal to pay it, and maybe gets into situations where gives away something of our country. Is that what we're seeing now? Yeah. We need to let our minds come to rest so that we can process the information that we've been getting. Over 204,000 people have died from COVID. No reason for that to have happened. But you see, when he's like, oh yeah, don't wear a mask, it's a hoax. It's a Democratic hoax. He knew it wasn't. He knew. And he lied. And now we've got to come to terms with that. And I think that the readings have been showing us that. We got to wake up on this 9-month, in this 11-day, in this 22-year. We have to wake up and see the truth before us. Come to terms with this and make a different choice. Make it from the standpoint of love and compassion and unity consciousness instead of from ego. So, anyhow, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. Check out the blog over at imsteppingaside.com. It's called Stepping Aside. Sign up for the newsletter and you'll get the esoteric influences for the week in your inbox on Sundays. Once in a while there's something in there that's affiliate related, usually having to do with the Herbal Academy, but other than that, no. it's just that stuff. And plus my books are down below there if you're interested in any of those that I've written. Other than that, you just get the whole week in your inbox. The only difference is each day I write it up on the blog. Well, most days I write it up on the blog, and I include a geomancy reading in it. So if you want to look at it there too, you get a little more if you go to the blog. So anyway, have a good day, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. Wear a mask if you go out around anyone at all, whether you're inside or out. Take full precautions. We're coming into phase 2 of this, and it's going to be worse, they say. So hang in there and protect yourself and other people. And blessed be.